and they dedicate their lives for it, and they don't care because they don't put themselves, I never saw a place with as less ego as in Xi'an Center. I'm sure there is a little bit, but they don't let it pop up, and they support each other, and they work as a group. And because of that, the miracles that happen, the success of the healing that happens, and the influence that they have on many areas is just unbelievable.
Welcome to this episode of the Chineng Qigong Community Podcast. Today we have Ronit Adar in conversation with our dedicated host, Torsten Lydekker.
Hello everyone, this is Torsten from the Chineng Qigong Students Hub, bringing you the Chineng Qigong Community Podcast. Today my very special guest is Ronit Adar, and she is not only a Chineng Qigong teacher, she is also a craniosacral therapist and a peace activist, if I may say so. She's done a lot in the area of promoting peace. She's based in Israel, and today our focus is going to be the Xi'an Center, where she has great contacts with that she is supporting. And tell us a little bit about the Xi'an Center, because a lot of people have heard the name, but not many people know what's actually happening there, what this is all about. And obviously we are all interested, in healing centers in China, as the original Wuxia Center is no longer around. So please tell us a little bit about that center.
Okay, so first of all, thank you for inviting me. It's a great pleasure for me. I feel honored, so thank you. And I'll be very, very happy to tell you about Xi'an Center because it's a very dear place in my heart. Not only that it helped me heal my arthritis, but also I think, I don't know all the centers in China. I know a few of them. I've been 5 times in China, each time for a month-long retreat and 1 time for 3 months, which included also teacher training. And the Xi'an Center was the place which I liked them all. They were all amazing and all very beneficial. I have only good things to say about all these amazing teachers. But the fact that the Xi'an Center is a center and it's not a private teacher, and 30 amazing top teachers live there together, teach together, heal together, so dedicated to the cause of bringing healing to the world, to every individual, to spreading the Chineng Qigong science in a way that really touched my heart, to a degree that if I didn't have a 15-year-old daughter in Israel that refuses to live in China, I would find myself living there in that center. It's an island. It's not China. It's a different thing, and I think it's the closest thing we have today. I'm not sure because I don't know all the centers in China, but I think it's the closest we have today to the Huaxia Center, to the Medicine-less Hospital of Dr. Pang, because it works in the same way that the Huaxia Center used to work, and Dr. Pang is in direct and very close contact with them, weekly contact. He gives them instructions on the practice, on the healing, on the research they're doing, and he's influencing the Qi field very much. So, since I was there in 2019, and I fell in love with the place, and of course my arthritis almost completely healed there. So I really, really took it on myself to help as much as I can. And really my soul is connected to this place. And I also want to add that financially, Xi'an Center has never been in a good situation. And Dr. Pang told them that research is the most important thing. All these experiments of bending a spoon and turning the pins into magnet and all that kind of stuff. They're doing research. They have a healing center there, and they have a research center. And because Dr. Pang told them it's more important to do the research than the healing, there are quite a few, maybe 10 or 15 teachers that come to work every day doing these experiments with machines, with the computers, producing electricity by the power of the mind and heat and measuring it on computers and everything. They have a lab there, yeah? But they're the machine, their mind is the machine producing all these miracles. And because they don't have money, they don't get paid for years. They work for free. And they dedicate their lives for it. And they don't care because they don't put themselves, I never saw a place with as less ego as in Xi'an Center. I'm sure there is a little bit, but they don't let it pop up, and they support each other, and they work as a group. And because of that, the miracles that happen, the success of the healing that happens, and the influence that they have on many areas is just unbelievable. When you go into the Xi'an Center, you come in, it was in a very, very old building. Now they moved during the COVID, they moved, but the building was terrible. The conditions were unbearable for Westerners. It was really hard for us to eat the food, and it was not clean and hot, and there were no air condition. First day I came, I thought I'm going away because I can't deal with all these conditions. I'm not used to it and I'm not good with it. But after 2 days, I felt the chi field, and I understood this is my chance to heal. And I fell in love with the place, and I really wanted to move to live there.
So tell us a little bit, what is life there like? What is the typical day look like? Because most of us know a little bit about Huaxia Center and what the days look like there and how it was structured. But what's it like now in Xi'an?
So they have, I haven't been in the new building, but I will go in July. There is a teacher training that I'm organizing, an international teacher training. It will be in Xi'an. They actually moved to a new place. They borrowed money. They put all the money they have to go into a new place, and they prepared it really nice. But it was during the COVID, and they didn't know that the police doesn't allow strangers to stay there. So now we are not allowed to sleep in the center. So we're going to be in the hotel nearby, but we can come for daily practices there. But anyway, there are just all day long, there are groups that you can sign up for a healing group. You can come for healing. You can come for a course of level 2, a course of straight leg sitting, of standing meditation. So all day long, there are classes there, and you sign up and you pay for what you want. And all these courses, they go from morning to evening. So if you come to a healing, I know most about the healing because I went to a healing retreat there, but I saw the other groups, yeah? So we had 7 days of Lachi class, which we had the best. There is a specialist teacher that specializes in teaching Lachi, and he was really unbelievable. So we sat all day long, 1 hour did Lachi, a break. Another hour, like that, all day long. A bit of theory to guide you how to practice. And by the end of I don't remember if it was the first or second week, but at the end of these 2 weeks, we had 5 hours Lachi straight, or 6 hours Lachi. Sometimes it's 8, which is an amazing experience, which I never thought I could. But after you sit there in the strong chi field with all the information, and after day by day you practice, it's amazing the depth of the quietness and the openness of your consciousness that you reach, and you can do 6 hours. And after that, we had a 1 week course which was called Disappearing Tumors, which is basically Lachi and Chenchi. Every day you have a session of 20 minutes or 30 minutes or even more Chenchi. and the rest is Lachi, but there is a lot more theory about how to work with the mind, how to tackle the information of being healed. And it's called disappearing tumors, but they actually say tumors and all negative information. I came with my arthritis. It was just as good for my arthritis. And then the fourth week was called advanced healing. And so it's again from morning to evening. There were a lot of experiments. We did experiments to really make us understand that as we can change the spoon to be soft, and as we can influence the matter, and we can see it in our own eyes, and doing that, you learn in the moment it happens how your mind was. So you learn a lot when the moment you succeed, and also the moment you don't succeed. You see all your reference framework coming up, and you can really learn a lot. So this was the fourth week. There was a lot of experiments and Lachi and Chenchi. And at the end, they took all the people who came with tumors. They have an ultrasound room, like they did in Huaxia Center. The ultrasound technician is a Qigong practitioner. They have a team that specializes in the disappearing tumor, Huasan. And then everyone that came at the beginning, at the first day, they went to the hospital. They had to come with their medical report, but they also took everyone with tumors or stones or cysts or anything that you can measure in your ultrasound. They took them to a hospital in China. So it will be measured with the same machine. Measured the tumor or the stone or whatever. And then at the end, people who wanted and felt they were ready, again, you go and then you do the Huasan. There's 4 teachers who specializes for every course. There are teachers who specialize in that area, and they did the Huasan treatment. I came with a friend from Israel, Dina, and she came with 3 tumors in her breast, in her left breast, and she came back to Israel without them.
And that is incredible. It's incredible healing stories.
And she saw it happen. They show her the television. She saw it happen in the ultrasound, but she was practicing 3 years before. She did Qigong. She was really dedicated. It's not she only came for the 4 weeks and that's it.
Right. So the commitment.
She was mentally. The teachers told us. They saw she was ready. She had the right attitude. They saw her transform. Some people, it didn't work for them because it was not the time yet.
I had a conversation today with another Chineng Qigong teacher, and she's also a medical doctor, a Western medical doctor. And she said, you can heal any disease, but you cannot heal every person. So the disease is healable, but the question is, where is the person at? And I think that ties in greatly with the success of your friend, who was obviously very ready for the healing, who was had a clear intention that carried her through doing all the practice in the years before, and that's what they picked up, and that's maybe why it worked so. Why it sounds like a miracle when you hear it. Right now, I've got a question because from what I understand is that there's mainly Chinese people going to the center. Is that so? And what's it like for a Westerner? If you join a Chinese group, can you understand them? Do they speak enough English? On a practical note, or does it really not matter because you're in the Qi field and you get enough information anyway that creates the healing? Tell us a little bit about that, please.
So in 2018 or 19, I can't remember, the first group of Westerners arrived to Xi'an Center. Before that, individuals arrived to Xi'an Center, and they just did it in Chinese. The woman who introduced us, Rocio, she's from Spain, she was there on her own, and we knew her I did a teacher training with the Tao Hearts. And I knew her from there. And she told all the group of the Dao Hearts that she found a beautiful place and if we want to go. And she made the group. But I understand that before that, there were people from the West coming individually. So we had this first group and we had a translator because we didn't understand. And I want to emphasize that during the 2 last weeks in Xi'an Center in the healing, the theory has a big importance. It's not theory. It's practice of the mind. It's practice of the consciousness. But they were giving a lot of time for lectures that really helped us know what to do and get the motivation to do it. And it's a really important part. So on one hand, after that, I came 2 or 3 times to Xi'an after. And in between, people just stayed there. You know, I had a friend from Israel. She came with me. She said, I'm not going back until I'm healed. So she stayed on her own with all these Chinese. She didn't understand the word and she had the time of her life. She said she didn't need the words and the chi field was healing her. And then I came after 3 months. She was still there. So I know people come even if they don't have Chinese. And there are 3 teachers there who speak English. And if a Westerner comes, they usually will be helped by these teachers. So we have 3 teachers and now more teachers, about 5. 2 have less good English, but 3 of them, since the COVID, after I came back from there, I was so excited and I so much wanted to help them. And they told me the COVID will kill us. We'll have to close. So we started all these Zoom onlines with Xi'an Center. So they learned a lot of English and now they're pretty good. So there are English speaking people there. You just need to check that they're not away in retreats in Europe and America. So now there is a healing retreat in April that I'm not organizing, but there is a healing retreat in Xi'an for people who need healing. For me, out of all the healing places that I heard of, if a person is really in trouble and really needs healing, Xi'an Center is the place to go. Because the chi field is so strong and there's so many teachers and they're loving and caring. They went to our rooms every other, 3 or 4 days, and a teacher knocking on the door to make sure we're okay, checking how we are. Their love for every person. The first Western group was so shocked from the conditions. They were full of complaints. People almost dying. This is their chance to heal, and they didn't stop complaining about the food, about the room, about this, about that. And the Chinese, they don't know these things. They were shocked. The Chinese just don't do these kind of things. And even all these complaints, they love us anyway. Fully, really, unconditionally. It's something I never experienced before. So people can come, but now because of this problem of that you're not allowed to sleep in the center, so you need to sleep in a hotel nearby. It's less nice if you're on your own.
Right.
But if someone is really wanting to heal and is willing to travel, each day their hotel's very close by. It's in Xi'an Center, very close to the Terracotta touristic place. It's a very beautiful tourist site. So there are hotels that are close, but it's not living in the center itself. So you have to take it into consideration if you're up to it, if you're coming on your own. But there are...
Absolutely. And I'm sure, if there's a possibility to join a group and to join one of the healing courses, then, it might be even a better idea because,
Yes.
you can obviously, you can share your experiences with others from the West. So we bring both
Yes.
cultures together. But again, I wouldn't discourage anyone to wait because often when you have a serious disease, time is of the essence. So it's not about the mechanics. You can totally go there and just indulge in the G field and do what you need to do. You don't necessarily need a group of the West, although it might be supportive, or people might feel, even maybe it's a little easier also because you're not on your own in this situation, right? And you also
definitely. And also the energy of the group, it's very, very strong when you come as a group, very strong. Yeah, but I agree with you. I agree. I want to say one more thing about healing. And I think this is the most important, because some of the people went to Xi'an Center in the disappearing tumor event of the Huasan, their tumor got smaller, and they were amazed, and they went and checked it, and they went back, and it was for real. But for some of them, not for all, Dina is still, touch wood, she's perfect. She really got it, yeah? But for some of them, it came back. And they emphasized there that it's not enough to do the Huasan. It's not enough just to practice Lachi many hours. It has to be that the information that created the disease is transformed. And this, I think this for us in the West, this is the tricky part to get. And because it's not only saying or seeing yourself, seeing all the cells healthy and your body healthy. If you only say that, but you keep inside your fears, your despair, your anger, your frustration, your trying to control things, your judgments. I hate this, I don't like this, I want this food and not this food, this political party, this, if it doesn't work. And so this is why I told you the theory there was very important, because it wasn't theory. It was talking to us about how the emotions influence the body and how to work with that and and they give you a paper with sentences that Dr. Pang said. One of them is, even if somebody hurt you badly, don't be resentful. Don't keep the resentment. Only see the good in him. And it's not that we have to be nice and spiritual. It's not about that. It's only because this anger or this resentment is making your body ill. You can be totally just right. Maybe something really unfair happened to you. Even a terrorist coming and raping and killing, my best friend. If I hate someone, doesn't matter how bad it is, this hate is working on my body, preventing me from being healed.
My name is Leila Cupido, and I'm the project manager of the Students Hub. Our team is constantly adding events, teachers, videos, and other resources to take your practice to the next level, improving the quality of your life and the life of the people around you. We do this work for you, so please use it. Hunyuan Ling Tong.
Right. I think that is a very important point that you are making, and that the center is making, because we have a lot of examples where people go to retreats or they are with masters and they are healed, but they relapse. And the reason they relapse is because the underlying cause has not disappeared. So it's one thing most of the listeners here are Jin Eng Qigong practitioners, so they know about the power and how we can transform things, with the power of our consciousness. But the lapsing will happen if the fundamental cause isn't cleared. And so when you say this is something that needs to be addressed, how do they exactly address this? Do they have any technique, any way of doing things or teaching things that would help us in the West to understand that and to make not only the symptoms disappear, but also the underlying root cause disappear?
I want to say something before I answer you how they do it. Also, this question of the cause, often in regular psychology, we look for a cause. To say, we used to say that cancer is connected to anger, and then you understand that you were really hurt or you're traumatized, and then the anger stayed and developed cancer. But it goes way beyond that, and it takes time. For me, it took years to understand it. Only now with this terrible war we have every year I think, oh, I got another part of the puzzle and I'm healing more and I'm healing more. And now on the 7th of October, when this disaster happened to the world and to Israel, it helped me understand even more that even if we have a cause, and this is really the turning point where the disease started, it not only created a disease because of that and that and that happened, but it created a whole set of reference framework. So we don't trust life. We don't trust the world. We don't trust ourselves. We made ourselves separate from the world or from life, I heard one teacher say, there is no you living life, you are life. And for me, I've been repeating this sentence to my students almost every lesson, really wanting to understand it myself. And then I understood that I cannot see the body healed and in harmony and have unharmonized thoughts about my teenage daughter, which is driving me crazy, and my brother and sister that I don't get along with because I think they're unfair with me, and with my Prime Minister Bibi that I can hang him on the street, because they can't bear what he's doing to, etc., etc., etc. If this is what my mind is having all day long, even though I know my arthritis is because an abuse that my mother had and it came to me and I found all the reason, still if I'm having all this information during all the day, I cannot send information only at between 2 to 3 when I'm practicing Qigong and I want to heal, and I'm sending the best information. And when I finish practicing, I go back to quarreling with my husband or with my daughter, or it doesn't work. We need to change radically, to really change, not just to say from the mouth out. We need to walk the talk. And to do that is to, we have about 80,000 thoughts a day in average, every person, and 80% of them are negative. So this is the information we're feeding our body with, and it's influencing our cells. And then we practice and we say, all the cells are happy, it doesn't work. So this war made me, it enforced me to really understand I have to change my everyday life, and I have to, now my daily practice is sending information every time I think a thought, which is innocent. Just my daughter is nagging me and I yell at her, not in a nice way that I know I shouldn't, but I can't help it, So I just see our relationship harmonious and loving, and we talk nicely to each other. But every second of my 24 hours, I do it.
So what you're suggesting here is to take things further than just looking at, this is the one cause for this particular illness. For example, there was a trauma in my childhood. If I deal with the trauma, then my illness will disappear. What you're saying is it is about the whole person. It's about the whole ways of being. It's 100% of who you are that you need to observe carefully, and where you need to make sure that that your mindset is in what we might call the Qigong state, or state of perfect harmony and of positivity. And because it is otherwise a toxic environment. And even if I have resolved this one cause, if the environment stays toxic, I'm surely creating more problems, right?
Yeah, I would phrase it a bit different. I think the trauma we had made us have this reference framework. I think it's still part of the cause, because if we weren't hurt like that, we would not lose hope. We would not be afraid. We would not be on survival mode. I would not talk to my daughter like that. I think it's the cause. But the cause, it's not enough to say the cause made an illness. You have to understand what your illness is. Your illness is not that my fingers are awkward and they're painful. Now they're not painful, but, but they were very, very painful, yeah? It's not that. The symptom is that every second of my life, instead of thinking, what a beautiful world, what a wonderful person, instead of realizing my true self, I'm denying it. I'm in paranoia of the world, that it will hurt me, that I have to defend myself, that it's not good enough, that it can't happen, that I lost trust, that, the West is, humanity is losing itself. And it's true, but humanity is losing itself because of these reasons, that everyone is traumatized and everyone is acting like this. And so I think this is the cause, but it's much greater than what we're used to thinking. If we had a trauma, if somebody mistreated us and really hurt us, then we decided things about the world. We set our reference framework in a way that is limiting us and making us ill. So this is the cause.
So just because I'm trying to repeat with my own words, let me correct and let me see whether I've got this right now, is what you're saying is this cause that might have created the original, illness and disease that I was trying to resolve. This cause has kind of infected all ways of my being. So, and that is why I'm having a reference framework, why I see the world in a certain way, that if that framework does not change, then it will, again create problems and again create issues for me and bring me back into a state of disease. Is that better expressed now from my side?
Okay. Yes, definitely. It's definitely that. And I have another point coming up.
Please share it with us.
Do you want me to go there or not?
Share.
Okay. Because in the West, in the psychology point of view, we have a story of our past, which we identify as the cause. Yeah, I can tell you mine. My mother is Moroccan. My grandmother was married when she was 13, and she was married when she was 11. She had her first child when she was 13. I come from a family that now you read in the newspapers, and there was a lot of abuse, sexual abuse between the men in the family and the kids and the daughters. And my mom was sexually abused, and she never overcame it, and it just transferred to me, because she didn't talk about it and she didn't do anything. So I felt it happened to me, and I carried on. And this is I found out that this is my arthritis. Yeah, it's a family thing going on, and I need to break the chain. So this is a story. It really happened. It's really because of that. It's terrible. But my mother, she was 12 when it happened, and she carried that bag on her, and she suffered it not only when she was 12, but until she was 86 and passed away last year. So what Zineng Qigong is trying to tell us, first the story, but then you don't deny it, you don't push it away, but you don't keep holding it. You be with it, and we will teach you how to make space between you and the story. Don't go in the details. Once you know it, if you didn't know it, it's good to know it. And actually, when I was healing my arthritis, it was so painful that each day in the retreat, one retreat, I couldn't sleep. All my joints were hurting 24 hours. I couldn't walk from the hall to my room. It was a nightmare. For months, I was in total pain. Nothing helped. All the medicine gave me side effects. All the alternative things didn't work. I'm a craniosacral therapist. I'm a physiotherapist. I'm that. Nothing helped. So the teacher told me, just stay in. I was working with Ming Tong at the beginning. He lives in the States. He told me, stay in one place that is painful. Just be with the pain. Make space from it. And do nothing. It's like, if you know Lu and Ling, the do nothing meditation of teacher Lu. Yeah? I like it a lot. I use it a lot. So then when I stayed every night, I couldn't sleep. When I got the courage to stay with the pain and I stopped being afraid of it, and I could be quiet inside the pain, I told myself, I spent so much money going to the retreat. I took money from my father. I left my 8-year-old daughter a month on her own because I couldn't function. And I said, I'm not coming back to Israel until I'm healed. So I was very seriously practicing. And each time, suddenly, all these information came up about my past. It just came up. So I actually understood all this story just from being with a quiet, stable, empty mind inside the pain, with a penetrating power of the mind that we're learning how to use in Zilen Qigong. So what you need to know will come up. You don't need to think about it. But once you know it, then it's time to, how do you let go? How do you free yourself from the story? How can you live now, not what happened to you when you were 12? So they really teach you in Xi'an Center. They teach you this. Also, other teachers teach it in a very beautiful way. I'm also very, very much connected to teacher Jianxie. I organize this thing. I'm going in 2 weeks to visit him in Hainan with a group from Israel. I like him a lot, and he has a big connection to Xi'an Center. So they all have different methods. Different Zilen Qigong teachers talk about the same thing. Teacher Wei talks about the Ming Zhui. In Xi'an, they talk about the true self and the Yuan Ti, but they all mean the same. They teach you how to stabilize your mind, empty it, and face thoughts, emotions, body feelings. But just be stable. Let them come up. Be present with them, but don't identify. Make a space between you and them. And then you start noticing you are you, and the feeling is the feeling. You are not your feeling. And we have such a hard time not identifying with our pains and feelings and stories. So only when you take that gap, you understand who you are. We're all amazing, magnificent, smart, wise human beings. All of us. We're all Jianxie and Lu and Ling. All of us are like that. And we just deny it. So for me, my journey with Xi'an Center and with Jianxie and with Lu and Ling, they help me realize it. Every year a bit more. And probably next year I will say more. But this was my turning point in my healing. Because before I could practice, I practiced a lot. I was teaching before 25 years Tai Chi, and I loved it until I got the arthritis when I was 50. I'm now 59. And then I couldn't do Tai Chi and nothing helped. And someone brought me to Zilen Qigong, and I knew this was my chance to heal. So when after being really, really scared and frustrated and wanting to die and with losing hope, one day I woke up and I said, I don't care. I can't be afraid anymore. I can't be despair anymore. I am going to heal, point. Don't matter how long will it take. It doesn't matter how. I am going to heal, point. That's it. And I was serious then. After 2 years that I suffered and went the wrong way, even practicing 3 hours a day, that was the thing that made the turn.
I think that is please.
I just say one more thing. It's like teacher Jianxie talks about it a lot. And also the Xi'an Center, they emphasize when they say, when they give you this paper with all the sentences of how to behave or how to go about your emotions and ways of like moral ways, the Tao Te, this is what they want to teach you. and also Jianche and all the teachers, they tell you, you don't bother with the way because you'll get lost in the way. It's like the Waze, like Google Maps. You put the target where you want to go. I don't know how to say it in English, but
the destination.
The destination. You don't deal with the universe will bring you there. If your destination is clear, the universe will bring you there. But if you say, I am healing now, and then you go to sleep and you're afraid that it won't work and it doesn't, and how can it happen? And no, maybe I'll just take this medicine. And that means you're not positive. And I'm not telling people not to take medicine, because you have to have enough trust to let go of the medicine. If you're on the way, you can do both. You can take medicine and then build your trust and then take down the medicine gradually and do it. You don't leave yourself without nothing, not with full trust and not with medicine. That's not good. But you have to be like serious, and no matter whatever it takes, if you have this kind of information and if you're consistent, if you have the consistency, and really whatever it takes, and you're not afraid if suddenly it's a bit more painful or the blood tests are less good, or if you don't let these things change your information backwards, then you heal.
I think that is a very powerful sharing of your experiences, Ruth, and I thank you for that. And I know we started with the Xian Center, and you took it all the way into your own personal experiences and sharing your wisdom. So that was wonderful. Thank you for that. And I'm sure, given all the knowledge and the expertise you have in Qineng Qigong and life experience also, and the wisdom you've developed, there will be plenty of opportunities maybe for a second invite so that we can continue to talk about what you can share with the community here. So thank you very much for this conversation. And it was really a pleasure to have you on the show. And I'll hope to hear much, much more from you. And when you go to ESG next month with the group, give them all my love.
Next Sunday we're going.
I just saw a picture from a photo from the center, everybody having a dinner there. And I can see that Bai has excelled his cooking skills. It looks so fantastic what they are offering there these days. So I'm sure you're going to enjoy. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for inviting me. It was really a pleasure.
We trust you enjoyed this conversation, and we invite you to subscribe to our podcast so we can stay in touch and notify you of future episodes. We will end today's episode with the 8 verses meditation performed by Qineng Qigong teacher Katrin Hendricks. Enjoy. To get your free ebook on the 8 Verses meditation, please check the show notes below.